The following program is a paid commercial announcement. The views and opinions expressed are those of the identified sponsor and do not reflect the views or opinions of TBS Superstation or the Turner Broadcasting System, Incorporated.
The following program is a paid commercial presentation of Relationships Today, Incorporated.
Hi, I'm John Tesh.
And I'm Connie Selica. Tesh.
On November 22nd, 1991, we made the two most important decisions of our lives. I proposed.
And I said yes.
Actually, shortly after we met, I knew this could be a good thing.
Took me a little longer, but the more we got to know each other, the more I knew there could be a future for us. And by the time he got down on his knee, we knew we were in love and really wanted to spend the rest of our lives together.
But we also knew in order to get there, we needed a little more than just love for one another's company. It takes knowledge and communication skills to help a marriage survive and flourish.
We had both been married before, and those marriages ended in divorce. Neither one of us wanted to go through that again. So we had to make sure we were thinking this time with our heads as well as with our hearts.
So this time, before we made a commitment, we put in some hard work. We participated in premarital counseling, and we basically did a whole lot of reading.
But without a doubt, one of the most wonderful things to happen to our relationship happened after we got married. Something that really opened our eyes to what each of us needed to be fulfilled and happy in our marriage, and something that showed us how to meet those needs.
It was a video seminar called Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships by Gary Smalley. Now, Gary is a marriage and family counselor who has worked with over 20,000 couples and has written 11 consecutive bestsellers, which have sold over 4 million copies.
Yes, but as good as his books are, his video seminar is even better. You watch the tapes and you instantly begin to relate with your own similar experiences. It was clear to us that the video seminar was giving us the knowledge and the tools we could use to keep our relationship happy and fulfilled.
Now, these tapes are so impressive that we've invited a few couples to join us to meet Gary personally, see some clips of the tapes, and find out why they can make such a difference in every relationship in our lives.
Nothing is more important than your relationship with your spouse and with your children. So we want to invite you to spend the next few minutes with us, meet Gary, and get ready for what could be the best news your marriage will ever hear.
Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships. Hosted by John Tesh and Connie Selica. With special guest, best-selling author and family counselor, Gary Smalley.
We invited a few couples to be with us today and to meet Gary Smalley. And Gary, it's obvious from seeing these testimonials that the video series is very effective. And one of the things that Con and I have found from watching the tapes over and over again is that you have unusual techniques and even humorous sometimes. Where did you come up with these techniques?
What's been happening over the last 25 years of my life is I've had the privilege of watching over 350,000 people actually go through our seminar. But I think the thing I've enjoyed the most is being able to interview, counsel, survey like over 40,000 men and women.
Wow.
In fact, when I have a large group of people in a seminar, I'll notice certain couples that really seem to be happy, holding hands, arms around, and I watch that, yes. And so what happens is I get them separate afterwards and I interview them. I say, why are you so happy? What are you doing? And over and over and over, I found 8 consistent elements that I was able to then apply in my life, saw the results in my marriage, see the results in thousands of other families. But the average couple doesn't know that these 8 things exist. I didn't know. So that's why I'm so excited about the seminar, because as people buy these videos, what happens is they get a chance to see it. And when they see them, they say, so that's what we're doing wrong. They can start heading back up. It gives them hope, back up to where they can be happy again, regain those feelings. And I think that's what I'm most excited about.
Well, I got to tell you that when we received these videotapes of your seminars, it was like, okay, you can put a videotape in the machine. You know, what difference can that make? But what happens is, and we mentioned this at the beginning of the show, is that when you see yourself unfolding on the screen, when you hear you describing something that you've been through, and your stories are great. There's so much humor in them.
You are a gifted storyteller.
Then you start to go, oh, maybe I did do this the other day, or oh, I see you in this, hon.
Exactly.
I found myself watching the tapes actually on the Stairmaster and calling him at the studio and saying, John, you've got to come home and watch this part of it because you are just like this.
The problem is that you're being quoted in our household more than anybody, more than any of the great philosophers. We get the Gary Smalley quotes in the household. Yeah, fortunately, she doesn't have your home phone number. Otherwise,
I'd be calling you, saying, talk to him. No. What the tapes really do is make you look at yourself and your own contribution in the relationship.
We have a clip up here ready to go, so let's take a look.
This can be a major difference in a typical home. A lot of times a guy will say something to his wife or his girlfriend or his mom or whatever. Testosterone-loaded, left brain dominant male. This is true most of that. If you're right brain, it may be totally different, dominant. But this is a typical thing. You'll say something to her and think it's no big deal. Just a little tiny pebble, never hurt any, wouldn't hurt a flea. You know, no big deal. All of a sudden you hear her wince. You see her facial expression. You see tears come to her eyes. You might say something like this, pinch her on the side and say, are we going to eat desserts on our vacation? Now, it's no big deal. It's just a pebble to a man. But how would a woman feel that? And how would a woman feel a joke? How would a woman feel a lot of things that we do and say? This is how they feel it. Right here. Listen to this one. And we wonder why they're lying on the ground bleeding. And all we really dropped on them was this little thing. Why are you so upset? It's such a dinky thing. It's no big deal. I can't believe you're crying about this. Why is that? Because women tend to feel things several times deeper than we do. And if we have the understanding, in fact, this is a tremendous reminder. In the future, you can say, if you see your wife wincing and start to cry, and you see her spirit closing, just say to her, how big of a rock was that I just dropped on you? And if she says a humongous boulder, a landslide, then you know you're in big trouble. But you can always open the spirit of a person through persistent, because I value you. See, because my wife is so important to me, and you could say your husband is so important to you and your children, it's worth opening their spirit. If I've dropped this rock, I didn't mean to drop the rock. I didn't know it was going to be a boulder. I thought it was a little dinky thing, no big deal. What you can't do as a woman is say, you know exactly what side that boulder was. You always drop those boulders on me. See, if you tell us that, we're saying, we didn't know.
This is a great example of what these tapes, of what the seminar is all about. It's not a lecture, and the first time I saw the tapes, I was walking through the house, and Connie had them on, and all of a sudden I see this guy dropping rocks, you know.
And he laughs out loud when he's watching them.
What is this guy doing? So you really have a great way of painting emotional word pictures.
The truth is, I have watched these tapes several times, and every time I've watched the tapes, I have gone away with a new tool, a new technique. I see it differently every time I watch them.
Which she uses on me, by the way.
And I think, I didn't see that the last time I watched the tape, so you can look at these over and over again and see completely different techniques and tools to take away with.
Gary, Kathy and I have a really good relationship. Are these tapes just for people with poor relationships, or could they be beneficial for us too?
Oh, I have to say they are beneficial for everyone, not just people with problems. They enhance relationships, and they teach you those tools to take on when you do have problems, so you have them in case you do have problems later on.
And I've never met a couple yet that can't improve in some area of their relationship. So that's why a lot of people who have gone through the seminar have great marriages and get a lot out of it.
Well, Gary, maybe this is a good time for those who haven't seen your tapes to be a little more specific about the areas you do cover.
One of the very first things we do is we help a man discover how very, very valuable a woman is. In fact, we show him that she has two natural, tremendous qualities that if he understands them, those very areas in her can help improve a marriage immediately. And so it's extremely important. Then we talk about the #1 destroyer of any relationship. And it happens also to be the #1 cause of divorce. Okay, then we talk about what makes your mate your best friend. You know, what brings close-knitness into your relationship.
That's so important.
Yeah, because it's a very simple method, and you guys have shown me pictures of using that very method of how you can be close-knit for sure. We show you specifically how to overcome some of the destructive emotions that every relationship carries in with it. Anger, for example. I know of at least 10 damaging effects of too much anger in a relationship. A lot of times people don't even know they have it because they don't know that they need to know. You know, that's that kind of a thing. Then we show you 2 really specific things that a woman does, and I am convinced that it's unintentional, that can demotivate us as men to want to relate with you. Men have a deep need that it's hard for us to articulate, to explain, and yet it's really deep within us, and it's really our #1 request of women, and we say it in a number of different ways. Well, I share what that is. Once you understand it and start applying it and giving it to your husband, we get motivated to relate to you better. Plus, that's when we get excited about coming home, because otherwise we want to avoid, because we're real sensitive about this need being met, and it's not sex, and so I want to make that clear.
Gary, do you include the area of sexual relationships in the tapes?
No, not really, because I haven't found anybody interested yet. So, yes, absolutely, we get into that area. In fact, what we do is we explain the physical, the emotional, the sexual differences, the common differences between a man and a woman. And if they don't understand that, it can be the source of a lot of conflict, anger. What I enjoy talking about is sharing the 4 deepest emotional needs of a woman and help a man understand how to meet those needs. And when he does, it really does increase the sexual quality of their life.
We have a clip up here ready to go that introduces this whole area, so let's take a look.
What testosterone does is it drives us sexually. It causes us to have a sexual thought, and the average male American has a sexual thought every so many seconds, you know, like 40, 50 seconds kinds of thing. And I'm sure that's not true of the guys in this room, but in the typical male, and part of the reason is just because of the testosterone flowing through our body. We're basically turned on most of the time. Sexually speaking, males are sort of like microwave ovens, sexually. Women are more like crock pots, sexually. A woman tends to, yes, a woman tends to warm up to the sexual experience. See, sexual enjoyment and fulfillment for a woman has to be security, conversation, and romance first, and then physical sexual response. See, if you have a woman in your home that is not sexually responsive, something's missing. One of the other 3, or all of the other 3.
All right, stay with us. We're going to take a break so you can find out more about Gary's video series, Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships. We'll be right back.
Over 200,000 men and women have ordered Gary Smalley's incredible video series, Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships. And now, thanks to a new low price, every family can afford these invaluable videos. In this series, you'll learn the 8 critical elements that every relationship must have to succeed and grow, and how to bring these elements into your relationships. He'll show you the greatest emotional need of a man and how to meet it, the #1 destructive force in every relationship, and how to overcome it. He'll teach you a communication technique that'll enable your mate to instantly understand your point of view and actually feel what you're feeling about it. How to gain the security in your relationship you've always wanted, and how to be valued by your mate for the person you are. And these are just a few of the areas he covers. And here's the best part. You can receive the first tape in this series for only $9.95. That's a 75% discount off the cover price. Then, every 4 to 8 weeks, you'll receive another tape in this series, a $40 value for only $24.95 each. You can cancel at any time, and you can return any tape for a full refund. So there's absolutely no risk. Nothing in life is more important than your marriage and family. And these tapes will give you the insights and techniques to strengthen your relationships more than anything else you've ever tried. Believe me, you won't be sorry. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-544-5600. Have your credit card available when you call. Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships is the perfect gift for any couple, and all tapes come with a full money-back guarantee. So call now, 1-800-544-5600, 1-800-544-5600.
Actually, and I can hardly wait to get to this, but our 4th session is a communication method where you can say whatever you want to your mate or your children or your friend, and as soon as you say it, they'll not only understand exactly what you mean, but they will feel your feelings. Here's what you can get with the next area we're going to talk about. You can get instant intimacy, deeper than you ever dreamed possible, more intimacy in one day than some couples have in 10 years. You can literally correct one another because this language method is the best method to get the least amount of negative reaction. You can praise a person so they'll never forget it. And you can just clarify your thoughts anytime you want. I mean, you can stop your children dead in their tracks and get them to see where they're doing some things they shouldn't be doing in a way that all the methods I tried up to that point were not as effective in.
Gary, David is losing feeling in his right arm. He's been waiting, trying to ask a question. Go ahead.
We have some friends, and they are really having some problems right now. And in fact, it's gotten to the point where they've lost feelings for each other. Is there a way that they can bring those feelings back?
Well, we cover that area for sure, because we talk about the three main reasons why we lose our feelings, first of all. And we don't say that you just remain passive and wait for either your feelings to come back or your mate's feelings to come back. There's something very specific that a person can do to both have their feelings returned towards their mate, or they can do some things that causes their mate to have their feelings returned back. So it's very specific. You don't have to wait passively, because a lot of people feel so hopeless they think, it'll never happen, I'll just wait around forever. I like to have a person get active in pursuing this so they see the feelings come back.
Well, I know that the wife will watch the tape, but the husband will never watch the tape. In fact, he's going to make fun of the tape.
A lot of wives will say that. My husband will never watch these tapes, right? Well, they don't really have to watch them. If a wife buys them, watches them, she can see these 8 elements of a great relationship. She can apply
make the changes,
exactly.
And then he can figure out why she's making the changes.
And if I had a celebrity a couple of years ago whose wife made such dramatic changes that he said, where are you getting this stuff? I want to find out. I want to find out myself. So they actually flew to where we were having a live seminar. So it's not uncommon for that to happen. It's very motivational to men to see things happen in the home. She can apply them. The communication method can be used, which does motivate him and brings new awareness and new understanding in his heart. So it's possible for him not to watch it at all and see the changes start to take place.
Gary, I have a friend who feels that she's tried everything in her marriage and nothing works. What would you say to someone like that?
You know, anytime I'm asked, you know, if we've tried everything, it always reminds me, for example, if I said to you, here's 2 pieces of bread and some bologna, can you make me a cake for that? No.
No.
The bologna cake.
Yeah, the bologna cake. I mean, it would be flat now. I mean, would you try and try and try? You can't do it because you don't have the right ingredients to make the right kind of product, you know. If we want a cake, we have to have the ingredients for a cake. It's the same thing in a marriage. If you want a marriage that's really full and complete and beautiful looking, then you have to have the right elements. It's the same thing. And so oftentimes the people that are trying and trying and trying are just trying the wrong things. When they start doing the things that we see have worked all over the world, then they begin to see, this is changing.
Gary, are these tapes strictly for married couples? I'm a single parent, and I'd like to know if they can help me in developing relationships.
I wish I had these tapes when I was a single parent. His series on parenting is wonderful, and I was a single parent for years. I wish I had them.
Well, in fact, not only will it help you with your children, but it'll help you in any friendships you develop, because you'll have an advantage. You'll have these 8, elements that you know what will make a good relationship. So that's important.
Do you really feel that most men are interested in improving their marriage?
Well, I don't know why it is, but everywhere I go in the country, there is a whole new interest in relationships on the part of men. I mean, I see it. It's like a men's movement in a sense. In fact, recently I had the opportunity to speak to almost 25,000 men at one meeting. I mean, they were fired up, cheering, and what were they cheering? They were cheering, we want to learn to love our wife. I mean, how many places have you gone to see that many men do that type of thing? I think it's a first in history.
That's great.
Gary, we got to take a break. We'll be right back.
So why don't we thank and praise our wife and our family right now and let them see how enthusiastic you are about them.
I think most men have to have a person to come into their lives, like Barb has mentioned, to tell us how women are wired. And they're very complicated. For instance, when we're having a conflict and Barb would say, just get out of here. Well, Gary taught me that what she was really saying is stay here and take me in your arms and cut through my tears and my raised voice and prove to me that I'm worth something to you. Was really it. Now, you see, in my natural state, I wouldn't have known that. I really had somebody like Gary to come along and say, that's what you need, you know.
When I first heard Gary, I was just amazed. He was the first man I've ever heard who understood the heart of a woman. And, you know, women have been put down. And here was a man who was building this up, and I loved it.
I want to honor Barb. One of the things I learned from Gary is that Barb's a 10, and I need to treat her that way.
I can remember sitting in the front row weeping, and I thought, now why in the world am I crying? But Gary really makes a woman feel wonderful. But I really saw in Gary a man who really maybe understood women even more than I understood myself.
He has raised my whole level of awareness about who this lady is and what she really needs from me in terms of sensitivity to who she is, to what it takes to make her feel whole and complete in this marriage.
I say that Gary Smalley's seminars are great because he teaches things to you that are very sensitive and personal, and yet in a way that isn't threatening. And he uses humor. I mean, I had a blast just being in the seminar, but walked away really thinking, wow, I've got to be a lot more careful, and there is a lot that I can do to make our marriage stronger.
Her thoughts are very important to me now. What she does is very important to me now. They weren't before.
If I could find one word to use to summarize what Gary's seminar did to our marriage, it would be a miracle. My marriage has been something that I never thought it could be, kind of like a fantasy, like what you would dream when you're a little girl.
I wouldn't trade the experiences of going through Gary's seminars for anything. They've revolutionized our relationship. They've changed the way I see other relationships. Gary helped me begin to understand what I needed to be doing as a husband to really build our relationship. I know that the seminars are very important because men do not have a clue or any training on how they ought to treat their wives. They don't know how to love their wives. And the thing that Gary has done with all of his research and with his style of teaching, using word pictures and visual aids and all those kinds of things, he makes it so simple that even old offensive linemen like me can figure it all out, and it will really make a difference.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gary Oliver. Over the past 10 years, I've prescribed Gary's seminar and videos to hundreds of my patients, and the results have been remarkable. Without exception, I've seen every one of them gain tremendous insights and understanding about themselves and their relationships. Based on over 20 years' experience, I believe that every man and woman in America should see these tapes, not only for what it will mean for them personally, but for what it can do for every relationship in their life. I've had many men say to me, Dr. Oliver, I don't do relationships. But even these men have come back excited and motivated, telling me, I can do this. In this series, Gary will teach you the 8 critical elements that every relationship must have on a daily basis to succeed and grow. But he doesn't stop with just showing you these elements. More importantly, he gives you practical ways to bring them into your relationships easily and effectively. He shows women the greatest emotional need of a man and how to meet it. And men the 4 greatest emotional needs of a woman and why it's so important that they meet those needs. He reveals the #1 destructive force in every relationship, which is also the #1 cause of divorce, and how to overcome it. He'll teach you a communication technique that'll enable your mate to instantly understand your point of view and actually feel what you're feeling about it. He'll show you how to gain the security in your relationship you've always wanted and how to be valued by your mate for the person you are. And these are just a few of the areas he covers. I can honestly tell you that of the hundreds of patients that I've referred to Gary Smalley's seminars, not one has ever come back to me disappointed. I've never received a dime from Gary, and I'm not being paid for this endorsement. I've seen the impact of his work in the lives of hundreds of my patients and their families. And it's my wish that every man and woman in America could see his videos. They're that good. Here's how you can get this important series.
You can receive the first tape in Gary Smalley's video series, Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships, for only $9.95. That's a 75% discount off the cover price. Then, every 4 to 8 weeks, you'll receive another tape in the series, a $40 value for only $24.95 each. You can cancel at any time, and each tape comes with a full money-back guarantee, so there's absolutely no risk. You'll be receiving the personal advice and insights from one of America's best-read and most viewed counselors right in the privacy of your own home. You'll gain more insights into yourself and those you love than you ever thought possible. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-544-5600. Have your credit card available when you call. Hidden Keys to Loving Relationships is the perfect gift for any couple, and all tapes come with a full money-back guarantee. So call now, 1-800-544-5600, 1-800-544-5600.
What do we do for our average home? What does the average couple have to do? What does it take? There's 4 things that I think every marriage, I believe that every marriage needs, and when I find one of those elements missing of the 4, I see a weaker relationship. And it's not that you're going to have 3 of them and forget the 4th one. You got to have all of them to some degree. I mean, you may not be at a 10 in all of these, but you got to have some of it there. And I say we can be working on it, and watch how your marriage begins to green out and flower out as you're working on these 4 areas. Area number 1, just like sunlight to ivy, is the whole area of security. Security. Security is knowing that somebody is committed to me and that I'm committed to that person for life. And I say to the person I'm committed for life, because the more insecurity, the more problems you're going to have.
That's about all the time we've got. We want to thank Gary Smalley for a terrific half hour, some great insights.
Yes. You know, when you listen to the couples who've watched Gary's tapes, it's hard to believe that a set of videos can make such a big difference in relationships. But the fact is, they do.
Over 200,000 couples have already bought Gary's tapes, and there is a reason why that number is growing. There's nothing in life that's more important than our relationships with our family.
That's right.
And there's a lot of material out there on the subject. But I think you'll agree that just from today's sampling, Gary's approach is truly unique.
Whether you're in the middle of tremendous problems or you just want to turn a good relationship into a more intimate and fulfilling one, Gary's tapes will provide the insights and techniques to do just that. If you're hurting, believe me, his video series is designed to give you the help you need. Or if you just want to make something good a whole lot better, Gary's tapes will give you the hidden keys to a more loving relationship.
We've enjoyed bringing you this half hour, and we'd like to thank you all for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
It changed my life. It made me a completely different husband, father, person. The way I deal with my family, friends. I've got a whole new outlook on life. It's just remarkable.
To get excited when your husband comes home, just like it was in the very beginning, is something that I can look forward to for the rest of my life. We've learned how to have a loving relationship again, and it's wonderful.
The preceding program was a paid commercial presentation of Relationships Today, Incorporated.